virtue of the authority conferred on me, I now constitute this assembly a congregation of the University of Cape Town.
The national anthem will now be sung. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite Nkolo Ntaka, Secretary General of the SRC, to read the university dedication.
At this time of celebration, we, the members of the University of Cape Town, reaffirm our mission to nurture rational and creative thought and free inquiry, to strive for excellence in teaching and research, to educate for life, and to address the challenges of our society. We undertake to advance these ideals in a spirit of freedom and responsibility, and through consultation and debate. We celebrate our founders, benefactors, and predecessors, those who have built the fabric and nourished the values of UCT. To those of you who will graduate today, we wish you courage, wisdom, and purpose. To those of you who will leave the university to learn and work elsewhere, may you be sustained by those values which unite us here today, and advance them in the world beyond, and love of truth and learning, and of this, our university.
Please be seated. Climb Every Mountain from The Sound of Music by Rodgers and Hammerstein was performed by our mezzo-soprano Bongiwe Nakani. She was accompanied by Francois Botha at the piano. The national anthem was led by students from the UCT Opera School and the SA College of Music, and they were accompanied on the organ by Alexios Vikatos. And Alexios will be graduating with a BSc Honours later. So, it is my considerable pleasure and privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the University of Cape Town at this ceremony, where we celebrate the achievements of students in the Faculties of Science, Commerce and Law. For each of you graduates, graduation symbolically marks the end of a long road of industry and application, but it also marks the end of a long road for many parents, spouses, and friends of the graduates. So my welcome is to both the students and their family and loved ones, because without you, and I mean the friends and family and loved ones, the success stories on display here this morning will not have been possible. And I would also like to make special mention of a very special group with us today. We are proud to have with us today the graduates of 1965 seated in front here. The Golden Graduation celebrates the 50th anniversary of their class. So the graduates of 1965 who have joined the academic procession, as you saw, will have a campus tour today, and of course they will relive the memories and see how much the university has changed in the 50 years since their graduation. Today's ceremony involves largely postgraduate students. So many of you, as I said earlier on, will have graduated before, either here at UCT or at another university, and you will be familiar with the graduation pattern. But I think it is important for me to say just a few words about today's ceremony. It contains a number of elements that reflect the long history of universities. For example, each one of you will come, when you graduate, will come up to the Vice-Chancellor and you will kneel before the Vice-Chancellor. So it is said that this practice was first introduced by the Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, who is the founder of the first Grand Islamic University in the first half of the 8th century. When students completed their studies then and they were brought before the Imam, they kneeled before him to receive confirmation that they had successfully completed their studies. So that is one element of what we will be doing today. But of course the robes that we are wearing here reflect the origins of the modern university in the places of learning that originated in Italy in the 12th century, where the professors and the students were all part of religious orders. But we are an African university, so the proceedings today will also include an imbongi, a praise singer, who will praise you, the students, and your parents, and your friends. But we are also located in Cape Town. So when we processed in, you will have noticed that we did so to the Cape Town jazz classic, Manenberg. Now, as it happens, the composer of Manenberg, Abdullah Ibrahim, is currently performing in Cape Town. And at least one person on the stage here, I know, was there last night. Now, Manenberg, where it's happening, was first recorded in 1974, and it is described by the Sunday Times Heritage Project as a beloved anthem of hope and resistance. Now, we've come through a momentous year that saw many changes at the university and at our sister university. Student protest brought about change. We also saw change that tested us and that tested the very notion of what universities are about. The challenges that we faced this year has prompted introspection. And as we go forward, we will, as a university community, work very hard in making UCT the kind of university that it should be in the 21st century. And my hope is that the resilience that we have demonstrated this year will remain and carry us through the difficult but also exciting times that lie ahead. In ending my welcome, I would just like to announce that this series of graduations today will be the last graduation ceremonies for our registrar, Mr. Hugh Moore. He has been in the service of the university for 42 years and the registrar for 29. I must just sort of. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to grant a Social Responsiveness Award for 2015. The Social Responsiveness Award recognizes active development roles in our cultural, economic, political, scientific, and social environment. And I ask you to make this award to the Bertha Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship in the Graduate School of Business, and to invite Sulona Reddy to accept the award on behalf of the center. Vice-Chancellor, the Bertha Center in the GSB is dedicated to advancing social innovation and entrepreneurship. It is supported by the Bertha Foundation, a family foundation which works with catalysts for social change and economic change. Social innovation is a transdisciplinary field rooted in practice. It is complex and human-centered, involving new ways of relating, doing, organizing, and knowing. Since inception, the Bertha Center has uncovered over 300 innovative models and solutions in education, health, and other social field impacts, involved over 5,000 citizens and practitioners across different sectors, tested the feasibility of a great many innovative social solutions, and produced over 12 formal knowledge outputs from this work in publicly available reports and journal articles, in addition to numerous student dissertations and media articles. Vice-Chancellor, I invite you to confer the Social Responsiveness Award on the Bertha Center.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the President of Convocation Medal honors a past student who has made a distinguished contribution to the community. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the award of the President of Convocation Medal 2015, Mr. Mda Mda. The President of Convocation Medal is awarded annually to an alumnus or alumna who has made a significant contribution to the common good. Mr. Mda Mda was born to parents Simeon and Leah in the rural village of Mda in the Eastern Cape in 1923. He matriculated from Lovedale College in 1940 and obtained the BA and a diploma in education at Fort Hare. In 1944, he enrolled at the University of Cape Town's law faculty for an LLB degree. He was unable to complete this qualification and ended up leaving the city in 1946, giving up his dream of becoming an advocate. 2 years later, he took up articles in a law firm in Mthatha, and after 6 years' experience, started practicing as an attorney. In Mqanduli, a practice he continued until 2001. In 2015, at the age of 92, Mr. Mda remains active in the law as an advisor and mentor in his community in Mthatha and wider Transkei. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to award the President of Convocation Medal 2015 to Mr. Mda Mda.
Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to award the degree of Doctor of Economic Science, honoris causa, posthumously to Johannes de Villiers Graaf, and to make the award to his widow, Claire Graaf. Johannes de Villiers Graaf, known more simply as Jan Graaf, shared with that other great son of the Boerland, J.M. Coetzee, the somewhat terrifying power of silent authority, which comes from that mixture of brilliant intelligence combined with surprising shyness. Small talk was not part of his character, and he could be a highly intimidating presence to those who met him. But for those, family and friends who got to know him, he was a warm and wonderful human being and could be a great storyteller. Once when he was trapped in a window seat on a flight to London and I was in the aisle, I was able to ask him a lot of questions, which one couldn't normally do, which he could not escape. So I learned a good deal. Why, for example, was he, whom we lesser mortals all knew to be the greatest economist that South Africa had produced and who loved his discipline, why was he not willing to join the faculty of one of our universities to teach students? His answer was that he had tried teaching in Cambridge and in Harvard, but decided that the internecine departmental politics that he encountered was so offensive that he resolved never to spend his working life in such an environment. And so Paul Samuelson from MIT, writing in the pages of the Economic Journal in September 1958, when Jannie Graaf was only 30, but had already decided to leave academia, lamented that economics has lost so able a mind. Joan Robinson said that he was the brightest PhD student that Cambridge had ever had. Evidence for this ability came not only from his slim masterpiece, Theoretical Welfare Economics, written as a PhD thesis and completed when he was 23, but also from the numerous articles in top theoretical journals of the discipline. This record by the age of 30 is one that any economist would be happy to have achieved by the age of 70. In fact, his first article, analyzing changes in income distribution in South Africa, particularly amongst the rich, was published when he was 18. He was also a teacher. Revisiting Cambridge for a year in his mid-30s to find out what had happened in economics since he left some 10 years earlier, he was assigned to tutor a student who had just switched to economics tripos. And so in weekly seminars, he trained the young Tony Atkinson, who was to become Britain's leading economist in the field of inequality studies, and himself a mentor of and collaborator with Thomas Piketty, as is duly acknowledged in the introduction to Capital in the 21st century. So who was this young man from the colonies who had matriculated at the age of 15, obtained his first degree from UCT at the age of 18, so that by 21 he had written a thesis that in theoretical economics, which after publication was to be described as, quote, the single greatest book on modern welfare economics. Where did he come from, and what did he do for the rest of his life? His mother, Magdalena Eileen van Heerden, was the daughter of the dominee in Cape Town's Grote Kerk. His father, born 1859, who came from Villiersdorp, became a successful businessman and a significant politician. He was mayor of Cape Town at 31 and did much to improve the city's lighting, water, and drains. We might have him again. He went on to found the Imperial Cold Storage, which used the new technology of refrigeration to ship meat from the southern to the northern hemisphere. But Jan was to travel on a different road, much influenced by his time in Cambridge, for there he met and married Claire Thompson, who is here today to receive the posthumous award on his behalf. She is the daughter of Sir George Thompson, who won the Nobel Prize for discovering the wave properties of the electron, while he in turn was the son of J.J. Thomson, who won the Nobel Prize for discovering the existence of the electron. J.J. himself had become director of the Cavendish Laboratory at 28 and was to number amongst his pupils such luminaries as Niels Bohr and Ernest Rutherford. Marrying into a family like this, it is not surprising that Jan Graaf's writings have all the hallmarks, logical rigor, brevity, and coherence of a physicist rather than the often long-winded meanderings of many social scientists. So what happened after Paul Samuelson bade farewell to Jan Graaf in 1958? He may have left the Northern Hemisphere, but he did not disappear from theoretical economics, as many of his articles, published often in the South African Journal of Economics, testify. Having started in 1946 when he was only 18 with one of the earliest studies on changes in income inequality in South Africa using income tax records, he published through the 60s and 70s. His obituary in 1984 of H.M. Robertson, head of UCT's Department of Economics for 20 years, is a wise and generous, as well as meticulously researched assessment of one of our more hidden scholars. But like Maynard Keynes, also a Cambridge economist, Jan Graaf was not content to be bound within the confines of academia. He needed to spread his wings, and like Keynes, made a significant impact both in business and as an advisor on public policy. In business, there were three main activities. He was a farmer. He was one of the founding directors and shareholders of Table Bay Spinners, which spun textiles out of waste material in the early 50s, and he managed investments on behalf of a large family trust. There is not space, alas, to enlarge on these activities here, but there is no evidence that he ever got into the kind of financial difficulties that caused Lord Keynes, so it is said, to approach the Dean of Kings in Cambridge with a request to use the chapel to store, briefly he hoped, a huge consignment of wheat that he had bought on the futures market when he thought the price would go the other way. In public affairs, Jan Graaf worked largely in the field of tax policy. In 2002, the then Minister of Finance, Trevor Manuel, reflecting on South Africa's tax reform experience since 1994, drew attention to what he called the huge contributions of the Tax Commission, appointed by the new democratic government within 1 month of taking office in 1994, and which worked through the 1990s, issuing no less than 9 reports. Jan Graaf, with his unique combination of theoretical insight and deep knowledge of the South African tax system, was a key member of this commission chaired by Professor Michael Katz. Nor was it all work. He and his wife were internationally renowned mountaineers as well known on the Matterhorn as in the Cederberg. So Samuelson was wrong. Jan Graaf never ceased to be an economist. He made his major theoretical contribution and wrote his enduring book almost before he was out of his teens, but then decided to continue working outside the ivory tower. I must, he once said, be the only one in the world who has read all of Mead's Trade and Welfare, a highly theoretical work. I did so while overseeing sheep shearing in a shed on the farm. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to admit to the degree of Doctor of Economic Science honoris causa, Johannes de Villiers Graaf, and to invite Claire Graaf to receive the award.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Kenneth Reed. Professor Kenneth Reed, Chair of Scots Law at the University of Edinburgh, has made a tremendous impact on law and legal scholarship in Scotland and internationally. Writing about Reed's work on property law, Robert Rennie of the University of Glasgow has proclaimed, "No man has left so large a footprint on the Scottish law of property." The feudal system of land ownership was prevalent in much of post-medieval Europe, but was abolished in most countries several centuries ago. For example, this system of land tenure ended in England in 1660, and in France, the French Revolution saw its abolishment in 1849. It is therefore hard to believe that vestiges of feudalism remained in place in Scotland until quite recently. However, change was in the air when in 1999, the establishment of the Scottish Parliament gave impetus to the genuine democratization and modernization of land ownership in Scotland. Systems of land tenure do not lie down and die of their own accord. And even after 800 years of adaptation and reform, the grip on feudalism remains tenacious and all-pervasive. These words were written in 1999 by none other than Kenneth Reed, who at the time served on the Scottish Law Commission. 5 years later, on the 28th November 2004, the Abolition of Feudal Tenure Act 2000 was implemented, and the feudal system of land tenure was effectively terminated. Kenneth Reed is applauded as having been the architect of fundamental restructuring of the land laws that saw the end of the unjust, antiquated feudal system of land ownership in Scotland. Through his actions, Reed ushered in a system of outright land ownership and greatly improved the lives of those living in Scottish tenements. In 2005, in recognition of the significant legislative reforms he initiated in Scotland, Reed was honored as Commander of the Order of the British Empire in the Queen's Honours List. Kenneth Reed is also renowned as a preeminent scholar on mixed legal systems, and his influence has been felt far beyond the borders of Scotland. Curiously, although having developed separately, South Africa and Scotland have a very similar mixed legal system. That is, a legal system that has elements of English common law and European civil law. Kenneth Reed is well recognized as having facilitated important connections for South African academic lawyers in international debates about law reform. He has also brokered collaborations between Scottish and South African lawyers to comparatively analyze South African and Scots private law. These networking linkages have borne many fruits. Among them are two highly regarded scholarly works. More recently, ongoing collaborations involving academics from South Africa and Scotland have resulted in a comprehensive historical comparative examination of law of succession among 17 jurisdictions from around the world. Professor Marius de Waal from the University of Stellenbosch, who is a co-editor with Kenneth Reed on the recently published volume on comparative succession law, acknowledges that Reed was pivotal in bringing the group together. Professor de Waal warmly recollected that Kenneth Reed had first come over to South Africa on the 1st of March 1995, and that over the past 20 years, he has been actively involved in research with South African academics. In South Africa, Reed has spoken at a number of conferences, spearheaded several collaborative projects, reviewed many master's and PhD theses, and he has also been an inspirational mentor to up-and-coming property lawyers. Professor Kenneth Reed is a distinguished scholar and an exceptional colleague who has been highly influential in land reform and private law scholarship in Scotland and globally. According to Andrew Stephen, the Scottish Law Commissioner responsible for property law reform, few works on modern Scottish law have had as great an influence. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to invite you to admit to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa, Kenneth Reed.
Normally, I would now introduce the guest speaker to you, but since Professor Tsin Samituran has helped me in that regard, I can now only ask our honorary graduate to address us. Professor Reed.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Professor Visser. I should begin by saying how very grateful I am to this honor which has been presented to me today by the University of Cape Town. I would also like to congratulate the two orators who have described so fluently the careers of the two honorary graduands. I have to say that the only moment which has caused me anxiety about what was to come today was when I was told that the orator responsible for me was an expert in dinosaurs. In accepting the degree today from this university, I do so partly in the name of the close academic links in law between the universities of Scotland and South Africa, the orator mentioned those, and especially the links between my own university, the University of Edinburgh, and this university, the University of Cape Town. And if I may, I'll just say just a little bit more about those. Law is different from many other academic disciplines. By its very nature, law is more likely to be a national rather than an international discipline. And if you think about it, that's pretty obvious because there is inevitably a South African law and a Scottish law in the way that there isn't, for example, South African physics and Scottish medical science. Law is intrinsically national in character. What that means is that international collaboration is much rarer in law than it is in a lot of other academic disciplines, and it's also quite hard to sustain. Because of the series really of historical accidents which has resulted in the private law of Scotland and the private law of South Africa being similar in many ways and sometimes uncannily similar. Over the last 20 years, the orator mentioned I first came here 20 years ago, over the last 20 years, there have been a lot of very close collaborative work between legal scholars in both countries. And I'm very glad to see both behind me and also in the hall today quite a number of people who have taken part in that sort of work. Comparative law is enormously valuable and important for the development of legal systems, and long may this particular comparative collaboration continue. I'm not going to say anything more about law. You're probably glad to hear me say that. What I would like to do just really in a few words, is to address the graduands, my fellow graduands today. I feel a little bit diffident, a little bit of a fraud in doing so, because I'm conscious that I'm the only person to receive a degree today without having done any work for it at all. I have passed no exams, I have written no dissertations and no theses. I can recommend this way of getting a degree, by the way. It's extremely attractive. You have, I'm afraid, been less fortunate. So I should begin by just paying tribute to you for all the work you've done in your years at UCT and your success in completing your degree. We had earlier on Roger and Hammerstein's Climb Every Mountain, and you have climbed this particular mountain, and many congratulations for having done it. To those of you, and this is very many of the graduands in the room today, to those of you who are PhD students, a special word of congratulation is due for your dedication and single-mindedness. I know, and I think we all know, that doctoral work can sometimes be lonely and isolating. Working on a doctorate, it's sometimes said, is a very good way of losing all your friends. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't lost all your friends, or that if you have, now that your degree is finished, you will be able to find them again. You are all supremely lucky to have studied at this great university, the University of Cape Town, a university which is known throughout the world. Since I can speak today and you are not allowed to, perhaps I should just say, perhaps you would like me to say on your behalf, thank you to those who have taught you during your time here. By having studied and completed a degree at this university, you are, whether you like it or not, members of a small and a privileged elite. But with privilege also comes responsibility. In whatever you go on to do in the future, you have the responsibility to bring to your task the things that you have learned during your time as a UCT student. An education at a world-class university teaches you very many things. It teaches, for example, the importance of independent thought, but also the need to take account of the views of others. It teaches you to question the way things are and to work to make them better. But above all, I think, it teaches you the humility to recognize that however clever and well-informed you may be, you will sometimes be wrong, and others will sometimes be right. An educated mind, and all the graduands today have educated minds, an educated mind is a mind that can be changed by the reasoned arguments of others. That's all I want to say, except to add my warmest congratulations and my very best wishes for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Reid, for your words of affirmation for our graduates and our university. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to invite our Mbongi to come forward. Now, many of you know, of course, what an Mbongi is, But let me just say, for those who are not enlightened, an Mbongi is a composer and an orator of poems and praise. Mbongi offer critical commentary and narrative on the state of society through their izibongo. Here today to offer a poem of praise, an umbongo, in honor of the graduates, their families, and their teachers, is artist and UCT music education student Neliswa Sampi Mkunyelwa. Please come forward.
Ifikile imini bikathixelwa udibene inhlanga nesizwe sizokuvuyisana sizokungqunqa kaloku umqubu kade upheki uvuthiwe bethuna mandigawulweni uyarhuqa ngokuba ndiqale ndibhotisa kumziwa ukuthi ndibhotisa kwabadala ndithi kaloku nenze kakuhle kuba ninike abantwana benu imfundo kaloku imfundo sisipho esingenokothuthwa ngumntu nanini na halala zinzwakazi halala nina botata halala nina bomama senenze njengaloku kubaxhasa abantwana benu ngamaxesha wonke kunibafundi ndithi ngxesi kaloku ngezo ntsuku beningalala ebusuku niqwalasele nijonge ezo ncwadi bethuna namhlanje kuyophulwa kuyaphakwa ndibona ukukhanya udedile ubumnyama kuvela ukukhanya kodwa baphina omama bayiyizele aphina amadoda ndumzele baphina amadoda bayiyizele ndumzele aphina amakhwenkwe ashaya ukhwelo ndisikwa inimba namadoda kunibantu bebehlohla nina bafundisa intsapho nina zincuba buchopho nina zidwangube senenjenjalo kaloku ukontla intsana ngalo mthombo wemfundo kaloku nina ninamabele abhonxileyo abhonxa ulwazi loo mabele aphuma ubisi namasi kaloku amasi emfundo sithi ngazombini siyabulela kuni senenjenjalo nakwisizukulwane esilandelayo hayi lo kamagaba umntana uciwosha umuntu omlava uthithiba umsuthu umjobi makanyala sekaloku ayidedela indawo amadenga wetyala yeham
Wow, thank you very much. I know that everybody feels very affirmed. When I welcomed the class of 1965, I should have also said that there are people in the group that are also from earlier than 1965, and some people go more back 60 and 70 years even. So, and I thought that I should add that now. And what I'm going to do now is just to ask the class to stand so that everybody can see them. Please, will you stand for everyone to see you? And now, because of the very long ceremony, we decided that this is a moment for everyone to stand and stretch your legs. So you can stand for a few minutes and stretch. All right, I think we've done that now, and the Vice-Chancellor will now confer the degrees.
We now turn to the part of the ceremony where we confer the degrees and diplomas on our students, on our graduates. Each will be introduced by the Dean of their faculty or the Deputy Dean. By virtue of the authority conferred upon me, I admit to the degrees specified and grant the diplomas specified to the candidates who are recorded as being in absentia. And I shall now grant the diplomas and admit to the degrees specified the candidates that will be presented to me.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you, for the Associate in Management, Ayanda Professor Hute. In management practice, Shalindra Braj Raj. With distinction, Hendrik Albertus Eckstein. Jolene Suzanne Rousseau. For the postgraduate diploma in business administration, Lorata Bapape. Loretta Kupedi. Hopewell Junior Moses. Rangia Naidu. Jacqueline Ann Orr. For the postgraduate diploma in management practice, Vilmarie Borrell Saladin. Herschel Carolson. Sipo Daniel Klaassen. Fadila Cooper. Dawn Sonia Crowe. Nicole Grant Curran. Willem Carl de Vries. Elmarie Dreyer. Gideon Johannes Jacobus Johannes Duplessis. Jacques Duplessis. Yumna Fakodian. Winifred Nokulunga Gwe. Esther Serena Job. Kirshni Yahadian. Peter Francois Joubert. Makosini Matsi. Pelanolo Colleen Mafata. Mafana Kenneth Mafana Makubantla. Samantha Marks. John Matiso. Solofelo Desiree Matsatella. Tom Magara Njeru. Lusangamele Martin Inshunse. With distinction, Andre Pretorius. Lamiz Rizia Rabani. With distinction, Lee Vera Rates. Lynette Karen Saunders. Brenda Magdalene Samani. Cicero Denver Tunis. Verna Irma Ward. Julia Jane Scott Wilson. Lynn Wilson. the postgraduate diploma in actuarial science, Nabila Collier. For the postgraduate diploma in management in actuarial science conversion, Takura Asahil Wekwete. In marketing, Chelsea Gale Lachenlicht. In sport management, Warren Clive McEwen. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Von Riet Rivimbo Shamiso Chigumba. David Craig Gilmore. Adila Ishmael. Winile Dolly Kuneni. Martin Craig Lukey. Daniel Rian Martins. Isama Sibe Mabi. In Kozikona, Luther Mabele. Mabocha Chepo Makata. Pila Mazakela Marudo. Zwatia Mudal. Oliver Heng, Osiami, Motletledi, Pile. Bruce Hilton Potgieter. Bongani Joseph Siamtunta. Abhishek Sega Samputh. Rupert Michael Howard Tripp. Benamile Ann Deoda Zwane. In Economics and Statistics, Rufumo Reynard Makanyane. For the degree of Bachelor of Business Science in Finance with Accounting, Mtobiso Nkosiyapendula Mamba. In Management Studies, Dylan Jack Cuniff. For the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Honours in Financial Analysis and Portfolio Management, Inga Beitendach. Sami Tapiwa Chimasoro. Paul Cohen. Tamsin Franken. Janine Fraser. Yandisa Nkwabi. Solani Madakazi. Lungile Makanya. Lungile Nokatula Malinga. Odell Ray Mentor. Mushudu Impahoni. Tendai Noreen Mutembwa. Vivian Tafadzwa Mutembwa. Pauline Mutameri. Kristen Nalia. Sijabulile Faith Nzimandi. Jabulani Michael Ngobese. In the first class, Kavya Patel. Bopelo Ethel Rabatata. Neha Rattan. Barry Shamley. Letukutula Pelela Perfect Shange. Richard Drummond Stewart. Jared Walters. In the first class, Fiona Louise Nevins White. In taxation, James Francis K. Hards. Pumla Faith Mabuza. Muanda Muladzi. Adam Blake Rundle.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you, for the degree of Bachelor of Science, Natalie Jane Barker. Zena Kells. Drickus Kuiper. Salama Manafelt. Taedza Nestali Mazarodza. Manchadi Modise. Mamelo Bride Motsai. Vumbanashi Nkomo. Mochaka Petro Shakane. Azola Tueni. Sean Joe van Duffelen. Christy Catherine Foslu. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Mathematical, Physical and Statistical Sciences, Tsepo Sonwebele Imkrinya. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, Honours in Chemistry, Akira Naidu.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you, for the degree of Masters of Laws in Commercial Law, Robert Kanu Gatonga. With distinction, Kelsey Harvinger. Gilbert Hwani. Faisal Jacobs. McCovey Comfort Mapiri. Charlene Tsitsi Musiza. Catherine Nansabuga. Dion Prince. With distinction, Julian Christopher Reynolds. Lee Tehran. Washington Tawanda Zindoga. In Constitutional and Administrative Law, Mpati Ntabaleng Mutulone. In International Trade Law, Karen Wangu Muthi. Brenda Mahoro Ntihinyuwa. Jesse Scott Rainier Raters. In labor law, with distinction, Soy Anna Kangu. Brett Andre Susan. In private law, with distinction, Martin Jason Fisher. Sandra Kairiaki. In public law, Michael Jones. For the degree of Master of Laws in Commercial Law, Juan Aranza. With distinction, Lois Samantha Fish. Tasneem Gangat. Caroline Humpert. Nathaniel Ruben Maurits. Jane Kawitha Mugambi. Joan Makoya Mwasami. Rona Wangezi. Till Wederman. For the degree of Master of Laws in Dispute Resolution, with distinction, Anita Bell. With distinction, Miriam Hauser. Benson Sibonelo Mchunu. With distinction, Kennedy Kipkoech Meli. Helga Samantha Neft. For the degree of Master of Laws in Intellectual Property Law, Louisa Ngima Matu Murethi. Francois van de Westhuizen. For the degree of Master of Laws in International Trade Law, Alexis Burden-Fall. Catherine Dostala. For the degree of Master of Laws in Labour Law, Bruce Scotson Banda. Daniel Francois de Villiers. Philip Jacques Fouché. For the degree of Master of Laws in Shipping Law, Lucelle Henrietta Adams. Hendrik Johannes Botma. With distinction, Chloe Johannes. Samuel Osa Hakichi Nsirim. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Environmental Law, Deirdre Linda Herbst. In Human Rights Law, Anna Kiloni Murat. In International Law, Caroline Francis Timoney. In Labour Law, Tanya Adonis. Motla Galwa Harold Ari. In Marine and Environmental Law, Courtney Jade Hill. In Tax Law, Ishmael Muhammad.
Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you, for the degree of Master of Business Administration, Anthea Winfred Houston. Mohammed Reza Ismail. for the degree of Master of Business Science in Marketing, with distinction, Julia Christina Maggie Dustin. Benedict Hirschfelder. Astrid Ringers. For the degree of Master of Commerce in Applied Economics, Matthew John Schnells. In Economic Development, Martin Thorne Akon. In Economics, Taryn Jade Augustine. Samantha Claire Rosenberg. In Finance, Taryn Sidney Val. In Financial and Risk Management, Yahanji Ali. Lawrence Wing Kate Cole. Rowan Andrew Hodge. Taban Bongikosi Mzobe. Grayson Gordon. In Financial Management, Lamek Onyang Odada. Philip Robert Stolkamp. In Information Systems, with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with the distinction, Shalene Luzinga. With the distinction in the dissertation and the degree with the distinction, Sikulile Lynette Ndlovu. Faisal Richards. In investment management, Matthew Joseph Applebaum. In management practice, Evans Wale Kuzai Chinembiri. Lydia Nalishe Hakwenda. Vonesai Shivirai Huve. Benjamin Rinaune Kajpuka. Joshua Levendale. Ratida Mafrutu. Dumisani Mankoba Bambo. Moses Lamek Mfune. Maxwell Young Mkumba. Brian Mreveri. Sipo Aubrey Shawarala. France Deutingira Usiku. In organization psychology, Bianca Lisa Solomon. In South African taxation, with distinction in the dissertation and the degree with the distinction, Graham Donald Sagas. In taxation, Thawar Davids. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Demography, Mbongeni Charles Hilabano. In Inclusive Innovation, Hilary Jeffat Musarura. In innovation leadership, Meham Anirai Sangham. In management practice, Mohammed Sharif Edwards. Keegan Stein. In mathematical finance, with the distinction in the dissertation and the degree with distinction, Wilson Chakane Mongwe. With distinction in the dissertation, Walter Ushan.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the degree of Master of Science in Applied Marine Science, Natalie Diemer. Catherine Lee Morrissey. Jodie Romay Reed. Christopher Temba Wasp. In chemistry, Nadia Barches. With distinction, Laurel Margot Joseph. Vela Mngade. In climate change and development, Asemenya Ntakomwa. In computer science, with distinction, Justin Krause. Mohato Karabo Lekena. Ulwazi Enoch Mazia. Sunrise Wang. In decision sciences and analytics, Hassan Taiwo Sadiq. In environmental and geographical science, with distinction, Willem Stefan Conradi. With distinction, Taryn Lynn de Beer. Molula Ka'oa Linda Maoi. In geology, Jorge Isaac Adrian. Andrew Selkirk Logue. In information technology, Marshallin Reddy. In molecular and cell biology, with distinction, to Nyafo Elizabeth Brock. With distinction, Imang Tsametsi Emi Molajwane. In ocean and climate dynamics, Lebohang Innocentia Malato. In ocean and climate science, Moachabo Natalie Rakhawasha. In operational research, Tadenda Mark Guesha. In physical oceanography, Veronica Fernando Dove. In physics, Ferdinand Wilhelm Schenk. In theoretical physics, with distinction, Isabel Colby. With distinction, Benjamin Wallace Mayring. For the degree of Master of Philosophy in Archaeology, Lisa Lagrange. In Environment, Society and Sustainability, Sarah May Hulley. Sonia Mitzak. Wayne Stanley Rice. Frances Jessica Taylor. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Archaeology, for a thesis which demonstrates the dominance of neutral evolutionary processes in shaping morphological diversity in our lineage, including our large brains, and provides evidence that dietary adaptation was key in the dispersal of early human ancestors out of Africa. Lauren Schroeder. In botany, for an investigation that, through a combination of molecular and geographic data, coupled with a thorough taxonomic revision, elucidates the evolutionary and biogeographic history of the large plant genus Hermania. David Gwynn Evans. For a thesis which examines the global relationships, ecology, and biogeography of southern African kelps using molecular systematics, ecological correlates of form variation, and growth in culture, Mark Dino Rothman. In chemistry, for a thesis which investigates new chemical synthetic routes to unusual sugar found in the O antigen of Shigella sonnei as a basis for development of new glucoconjugate vaccines, Tay Byrne Anderson. For a thesis which develops a new asymmetric Lewis-based organocatalyst for the efficient kinetic resolution of racemic secondary alcohols into single enantiomers as synthetic building blocks for the chemical industry, Rudy Edgar Kozet. For a thesis which investigates whether dietary phytate, a key component of maize, provides enhanced protection against kidney stone disease and hence accounts for the lower incidence of this disease in South Africa's black population compared to their white compatriots, Sajida Fakir. For a thesis which identifies potential anti-tuberculosis agents based on two viable strategies of developing efflux pump inhibitors and reversed isoniazid anti-TB agents, which provides a proof of concept for future prospects in the development of anti-TB drugs, Malkit Kumar. For a thesis which focuses on the synthesis and characterization of water-soluble transition metal complexes and their application as catalysts in aqueous medium in some organic transformations, Leah Charlie Matsina. For a thesis which develops new methodology for converting acetals into enantiometrically pure alpha-amino alcohols for application as chiral synthetic starting materials for the global pharmaceutical and fine chemicals industries, Atenkosi Msutu. For a thesis for a thesis which describes the design and synthesis of a new class of hybrid drug-like molecules based on known anti-TB compounds and targeting a specific biochemical pathway in mycobacteria, Dennis Ngumbu Muhunga. For a thesis which investigates the interaction of ferriprotoporphyrin 9 with neutral lipids and detergents and the effects of antimalarial drugs on these interactions, Anissa Omar. For a thesis that has developed a new way of synthesizing quaternized amino acids in enantiomer-enriched form for application in both biotechnology and the synthesis of chemical libraries for the medicinal chemistry drug discovery, Wade Frank Peterson. For a thesis which uses high-throughput screening, synthesis, and in vitro antimalarial testing to investigate structure-activity relationships in new antimalarial scaffolds and which develops a Bayesian classification model for their discovery in silico, Catherine Jean Wicht. In computer science, for a thesis which provides empirical evidence that scaffolding techniques specifically designed for mobile phones and designed on learners' needs support the construction of programs on a mobile phone, Charity Chao Mbogo. For a thesis which designs, develops, implements, and evaluates strategies for the more effective integration of mobile devices into the ecologies of learning management systems to better support the implementation in developing country universities, Grace Sekas Kubo. In environmental and geographical science, for a thesis which uses discrepancy in a large ensemble of climate simulations to study the variability and predictability of seasonal climate over West and Southern Africa, hence improving the seasonal forecasting over Africa, Kamaru Abiodun Lawal. For a thesis which evaluates the capability of regional climate models in simulating the link between Southern African droughts and global atmospheric teleconnections, hence improving the seasonal prediction of droughts over Southern Africa, Arlindo Oliver Meck. For a thesis which explores the resolution dependency of climate models in simulating the regional climate and climate change over East Africa, Sarah Emerald Asima. For a thesis which quantifies atmospheric environments associated with extreme rainfall over Southern Africa and investigates future changes in these as a result of anthropogenic warming, Izzadeen Suleiman de Sousa Pinto. In mathematics, for a thesis in algebra, which develops a new generalized theory of annihilation graphs for posits and lattices equipped with an abstract counterpart of the congruence commutator operation, Mda Mda. In molecular and cell biology, for a thesis which characterizes the response of the abalone hemocyte proteome to bacterial infection, Carolyn Gina Gracious Beltran. For a thesis which investigates the drought response of the African cereal crop, Eragrostis teff, using a proteomics approach, thereby identifying important stress-responsive proteins and biological responses. Riska Kamis. For a thesis investigating effects of hormonal contraceptives on gene expression and HIV-1 replication in human cells, thereby providing insight on the safest contraceptive to use in areas of South Africa with high risk for HIV-1 acquisition in young women. Rosalind Michelle Ray. For a thesis which determines the molecular mechanisms of crosstalk and signal integration between glucocorticoids and gonadotrophin-releasing hormones in pituitary tissue and gonadotropes, which indicates how stress regulates mammalian reproduction function. Lancelot Weimeier. In physical oceanography, for a thesis which compares nitrogen uptake and nitrification rates in subtropical, polar, and upwelling waters, provides a better understanding of the factors controlling these rates and contributes to the improvement of carbon export models. Marie Catherine Reiser Philibert. For a thesis which unravels the ocean circulation of a poorly known region, the Mascarene Plateau in the southwest Indian Ocean between Mauritius and the Seychelles Bank, and that is based mainly on an ocean survey in that region, Patrick Angus Vianello. In physics, for a thesis that employs positron emission particle tracking to measure rheological parameters that form the key inputs to a new mesoscale model of dense granular flow in tumbling mills. Turuna Vukarasu Patmatas. In statistical sciences, for a thesis which develops a framework for managing protected areas in the grasslands to optimize the habitat for bird conservation, David Schlossi Impisa. In zoology, for a thesis which investigates the suitability of the South African scallop, Pecten salxicoca status, for farming, thereby expanding the resource base of the few marine species currently farmed in South Africa. Dale Cheryl Arensa. for a thesis on the role of dominance in group living animals that examines how dominance relationships shapes social organization and influence individual contributions to cooperation by preventing conflict. Margot Emily Therese Ratt.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Commercial Law for a thesis arguing that the statutory allocation of liability for compulsory harbour pilot error in South Africa is indefensible in the light of alternatives providing more effective, equitable allocation of liability and greater accountability for the quality of pilotage services. Oliwoli Oli Coyote Akinyeye. For a thesis that develops a coherent legal framework to provide corporate action on behalf of and hence the empowerment of non-shareholder constituencies which hold an interest in the financial affairs of a corporation, Sepo Herbert Mangalo. In criminal justice, for a thesis which proposes the adoption of constitutional provisions that restrain penal severity, the harmonization of Nigeria's pluralistic penal system, constitutional scrutiny of statutory penalties, and the development of guidelines that enhance proportionality in sentencing in Nigeria, Oliwatoyin Akinwanda Bajoban. For a thesis exploring poor informal settlement communities' responses to adversity through civic association, with a particular focus on flooding as a climate-induced hazard and on how business owners respond in contexts of limited state and market-led response mechanisms, Molehi Tutu Shale. In criminology, for a thesis that explores the response of the commercial insurance industry to global environmental change, Tom Philip Herbstein. For a thesis that empirically examines how informal economic activities are regulated in the city of Cape Town, South Africa, Suzelle Tim. In private law, for a thesis which addresses deficiencies in regulatory frameworks for petroleum resources by identifying 3 important tenets of good governance in the petroleum industry and suggesting improvement in the governance structures of both South Africa and Namibia, Hugo Meyer Vandenberg. In public law, for a thesis which explores the suitability of models of governance and regulation through the law of state-owned enterprises in Nigeria, and which proposes a variation of the externally imposed independent regulatory agency, Terhimen Anzenga. For a thesis assessing the efficacy of regional and national legal instruments in combating marine environment pollution emanating from land-based sources and activities in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, and against the backdrop of integrated coastal area management, Temi Topi Emanuela Kadiri. For a thesis which develops a theory for voluntary and mandatory extended producer responsibility approaches to sustainable e-waste management in Nigeria, and an extension of that approach to include other stakeholders in industry in order to foster product stewardship, Claire Erakpitan Okupon. For a thesis that develops and proposes an effective and appropriate legal framework to put in place in Rwanda to ensure biodiversity conservation while sustaining much needed agricultural development, Mari Rose Taramwishi-Miye.
Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration for identifying through a case study of SADC the role of international consultants and multiple agencies in regional institution capacity building as instruments of foreign policy that inhibits the organic development of institutions appropriate to national and regional political economies. Enrico Simon Calandro. For a thesis which develops a framework that prescribes the individual capacities required for compassion, capability in human service organizations facing resource limitations, Catherine Judith Train. In economics, for a thesis which shows that tobacco consumption places significant costs on tobacco-consuming households in Zambia, that it responds to price changes in Uganda, and that tax increments were largely responsible for the decrease in tobacco consumption in South Africa since 1994. Grive Shearer. For a thesis which constructs indicators for civil and political liberties, freehold property rights, and customary property rights for Nigeria, which are then used to tease evolutionary dynamics, persistence, and resource wealth effects of institutions in Nigeria, David Olatsun Fedrin. For a thesis which reviews protocols for designing and analyzing experiments on choices about addicts, criticizes procedures that have been common in psychology and behavioral economic literature, and demonstrates economically and econometrically sound alternatives, Adri Karl Hofmeyer. For a thesis which shows that there is wide inequality in health outcomes in South Africa, and that income inequality and education attainment are the driving factors behind this inequality, David Wanyama Kayer. For a thesis which studies the nexus between schooling and labor market outcomes in South Africa, thereby contributing to the literature on school quality, return to schooling, and unemployment duration, and providing evidence-based policy recommendations to government, Esther Mumbi Kimani. For a thesis which develops a framework that measures the value for money of innovative development aid, thereby contributing to the aid effectiveness literature and providing evidence-based policy recommendations to donor institutions in pursuit of more effective development assistance, Yanis Konstantin Kuhn von Bergdorf. For a thesis which develops a set of institutional indicators for Kenya from 1880 to 2010 and assesses their role in economic development or lack thereof in this economy, thereby addressing research gaps identified by Douglas North, Emmanuel Maluke Litete. For a thesis investigating the extent of foreign direct investment-induced technology spillovers and their effect on productivity and economic growth in SADC region, contributing towards academic and policy debates on FDI-related matters, Nicholas Masiandima. For a thesis which investigates how free primary education affects human capital accumulation of primary school-aged children and how a child's specific characteristic, the order of birth, influences intra-household resource allocation, and hence differences in education outcome of siblings. Ramaili alias Moshel. For a thesis which empirically analyzes the impact of exchange rate volatility on employment growth, investigates the determinants of exchange rate volatility using macroeconomic fundamentals and event studies, and other macroeconomic effects in South Africa, Truth, Reason, Mpofu. For a dissertation that investigates the exchange rate movement in the partially dollarized developing economy, with a special reference to the impact such an economy has on the monetary transmission mechanism and on the flow of foreign trade. Triza Louis Mutenga. For a thesis that examines the impact of social networks and bargaining power within couples of maternal health care utilization and rural-urban gaps in child nutrition in Tanzania, Alfred Keshia Mukongo. For a thesis which examines the economics and institutional aspects of community-based wildlife conservation around the Ganarizu National Park in Zimbabwe, and demonstrates the symbiotic relationship between rural households and wildlife, Herbert Ntuli. For a thesis which empirically investigates the relationship between the land tenure issues, the functioning of rural factor markets, and household welfare, thereby providing knowledge to support the development of policies to effectively reduce rural poverty in developing countries, Muna Ahmad Shifa. For a thesis which investigates the effect of military spending and conflict on economic growth in developing countries and the causes of civil wars, offering contribution to the measurement of conflict and the impact of conflict spillover, Nan Tien. In information systems, for a thesis which examines the mechanism through which the use of mobile technology contributes to the maternal health outcome for women in a developing country context, Mpaso Exlis Nyemba Mudenda. For a thesis which develops a theoretical model that explains why emergent usage of information systems is possible, where particularized to e-financial service systems in South Africa, Chidi Gerard Ononiu. For a thesis which examines the antecedents and determinants of user continuance intention towards mobile money service, that's M-Pesa in Kenya, Olam, Oniso, Osa.
Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, new doctors, members of staff, it's been a long ceremony, partly because we have been so successful in producing such a huge crop of wonderful graduates. I want to say special thanks Special congratulations to our honorary doctoral graduates this morning, to the other awardees that were presented. For some of you, this will be the first time that you graduate from the University of Cape Town. Some of the doctoral graduates will have graduated from UCT before. But as you do so, you join a community of UCT alumni that constitutes about 170,000 people around the world. You join the convocation of the university, you become members of convocation, of which Professor Bani Pachana is the president, the person who also awarded the Convocation President's Medal and who caped many of you. And as members of convocation, you continue to play a role and to be associated with the university. You do so through electing the president of convocation. You also do so through electing members to the governing council of the university, which is the body that ensures continuity, ensures the future of the university, ensures standards, and appoints the senior staff. I urge you, as members of convocation, to play that role and to play it actively. To do so, you need to keep in touch with us so that we can keep in touch with you and know where you have moved, as your email addresses and physical addresses change, so that we can keep in touch with you, send you quarterly newsletters of what's happening at your alma mater, invite you to participate in elections, and to comment on how we're doing. You go out as ambassadors of the university. Our university will be judged, it is judged very highly. It's judged in part through the research we do, but it's judged very profoundly through the ambassadors that you will be, through the graduates who will become employees in companies around the world, who will start up your own businesses, who will work in government and in the diplomatic corps. You will be the people that will result in the members of the public out there judging UCT one way or another. They will do so partly on your technical competence, on the quality of your degree, on the expertise you offer, but most importantly, on the values that you live and the values that you demonstrate. And I hope that UCT has been successful through your period of study here in imbuing you with those values of a commitment to social justice, a commitment to reducing inequity in the world, reducing to having an impact, a positive impact on the environment, on sustainability, and on the lives of others. I'm sure, graduates, that you will want to express your own appreciation to those of you who have supported you. So I invite you to stand up, graduates, make eye contact with your family and loved ones in the audience, and wave your scroll and shout your appreciation to them. And I know you will agree with me that you could not have reached the achievement you have without the support of your teachers and supervisors on the stage. And I invite you to show your appreciation to them too. And I add my appreciation to the members of the faculty, members of the university, and to all the support staff who have not only ensured that this graduation is run so smoothly, but have supported the university throughout a very difficult year. I want to express my appreciation that in spite of the stresses, the delayed exams, the additional challenges that we have faced, that we have concluded the year so successfully, and it's really through your support. Thank you to all of you.
In a few moments, the Vice-Chancellor will dissolve the congregation. May I ask the whole congregation to remain standing while the procession processes out of the hall. I invite all the graduates to join the procession, and of course also the golden graduates. Please, as you process out, process right to the bottom of the stairs. That helps to empty the hall quicker than if we linger on the steps. All the graduates and their family are invited to the reception in the Leslie Hall. That is, if you get to the bottom of the stairs and you turn right, the second last building on your right-hand side at the end of University Avenue, that is Leslie Building, and you will see that's where the festivities are. I now ask the Vice-Chancellor to dissolve the congregation.
By virtue of the authority conferred on me as Vice-Chancellor, I now dissolve this congregation of the University of Cape Town.